Hello, good morning, Hamish. Nice to see you. How's it going? So, turning that a little bit lower. So, and here we go. Intermission. So, oh, forgot just some last little setup steps. I'm very good. Thank you for asking. Can't complain about anything. I just have a little bit of less sleep at the moment. That's maybe a downside. But else, I can't complain. The live streaming are working well. Programming works well. Finally have some Go code ready for the video for Thursday. I prepared the patterns and records finally in Dart, which was quite long, but I took my time to really understand everything to really make the video good. It's afternoon in India, all right. So you are at food time now, or so you get lunch, or are you just sitting and working? Good. Besides of that, let's talk a little bit about our project that we currently work on. As you maybe remember, we have started with our Go project where we create a Warcraft free game tracker for leagues. And you have already learned Node.js and Express. So do I learn Go? Well, Node.js and Express are quite well. I think there is also an alternative to Express in Go that you can use. Go is quite a cool language because it's so expressive, you know? Everything that you do in Go is you have to really read through it and so on, so it's very expressive. It's quite crazy, and I really like that so far, and it's also very powerful. But you know, if you create an app and you would like to make it productive ready, then don't mind too much the technology, just go into it and start developing something. I guess that's the best you can do, as always. All right. Good. Yeah, so we create this game tracker and we work there in the back end with Go and Gonic and in the front end with Flutter. And what we did yesterday is we were able to create everything to make it a little bit more testable. That means we created structures, interfaces, and so on and so forth for all the different services, where I'm not completely happy yet because at the moment we create them all at startup and that could be very memory intensive, but I don't know a better way yet. So maybe in the future we will have there a better solution. Let's see. And yeah, for now we keep it like that. We have a testable, we have a modularized, and we are able to inject our own mocks if we want to, which is quite powerful and gives us a lot of flexibility in the end. Yeah, and now, before we start going and developing, let me quickly make some advertisement for the stream so that I don't forget that, because I'm a little bit forgetful with that. So, good morning, everyone. You know what, I can pull that up actually, and we do it together. So, good morning, everyone. We started our live streaming session today. We want to work on... Good question. What do we want to work on actually? Do we have already an idea? So let's see. We have this game tracker doc file. What would be the next steps that we want to do? So we have already created a basic Flutter client where we need some design still for it. But also what we could do is creating more API endpoints to make our... I hear myself twice. That's not what I want. Just a second. This one, it is. So silence, fantastic. Good. So we can create more API endpoints to make our server as realistic as possible. And I think I should change the live scene here. So welcome from Greece. Oh, Nagas, I'm very sorry for all the fires that you have currently in your country. We see that in the news a lot. Yeah, so we want to create groups, matches, get all the maps, get specific maps and participants. Yeah, I did that. Thank you, Hamish. Yeah, and we want like to deploy our servers sooner or later to GCP and create a CI/CD for all that stuff, like CodeMagic for our Flutter app, and yeah, for our Go stuff we will use the GCP build factory. Good, so that's our goal and what we can work on web scrapers for data. So that's also in the future things that we have to do. For example, the database we have already, which was quite simple. API to add, delete and update data, we are on that. Server that receives, there we are on it, and web scraper comes to the end. Because at the moment there is not so much possibilities to put all inside. I generally use GitHub Actions for CI/CD, also a good tool. I'm also very happy with GitHub Actions. The only downside is that it is all community driven, and you know that could lead always to some problems in the long run. So especially with Flutter and so on, I like to use things like CodeMagic, especially if you scale a little bit higher. Well, CodeMagic is also free with 500 build minutes, right? And if you use GCP, you have to pay for it, that's true. But because if I use, for example, Go and everything, and I would like to put the, if we take a look at Google Cloud Services, I would like to use Cloud Run at the end to host my server. So you can see I have already running something here, but we have our own, this weekly Warcraft free game tracker. And for that, we have to get somehow our Docker container into it. And the idea is to use the artifact registry. And here we can drop our Docker containers into it so that Google GCP Run more or less can take advantage of that. And it holds also a free tier until I think a gigabyte or something of Docker containers. Yeah, so we want to work on polishing our API and create some new endpoints. Also, what I would like to look into is, taking that down again. So what I would like to look into, because this integration part, and as you know maybe from ServerPod, we can create our API endpoints there very easily. And the standard for that is called OpenAPI, and I would like to take a look into that. Maybe we can even automate a little bit our processes there. Like Golang OpenAPI code generator or something like that. You see, there is this code gen. Client and server code. This readme may be the latest. Oh, which way could I unreleased changes? Okay, this package contains a set of utilities, generating Go boilerplate from code for services based on OpenAPI free. So, and this is a specification, as you can see, and the cool thing is you write your things in YAML, I guess, and then you generate your code like API layer and so on from that. And it would be cool to have a look into it and make that a little bit more stable. And let me quickly check. Just have to enter here something. Open API for our store. All right, good. So how can we use that actually? Is there any questions? No, all good so far. So the OpenAPI specification is quite interesting because we can set information like HTTP codes, versionings, objects, XML, and so on and so forth. And as you can see, we get like some information like what we have to send and deliver and how all of that works. I've never used OpenAPI, so we will investigate into that a little bit because I would be interested to generate that stuff and maybe get even a Swagger documentation out of it. That would be my ultimate goal for today. So let's see how we can use it. How to get started with OpenAPI Go. Thank you, Ayal Posena, for the thought here. After transitioning microservices, we discovered that API-first approach with Swagger was a good, comfortable place you want to be. In this series of 3 blocks, I will discuss OpenAPI, then show code generation, Go Swagger, and lastly describe own flavor of Go Swagger and why we choose it. Okay. Is a DSL, domain-specific language for describing REST APIs. It can be written in either JSON or YAML. The Swagger standard is now on its 3rd version. Yep. To go to the web, and to tools developed around it. Great documentation as far as the de facto standard for defining REST APIs. So this is now very industry standard. So if you learn OpenAPI, this is what you usually do if you work for bigger companies, because yeah, Swagger is anyway a good thing because of the documentation part, but if you can really create your REST APIs from it, that's like the holy grail, you know, because then everything is set up. And the good thing is the client and the server side has then shared code bases, and you don't have to worry too much about how they are interacting. So let's learn a little bit of Swagger then. Where's my chat? Is it this one? Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so no questions so far, that's good. Then let's go into it. We have some tools. Okay, so there is like a whole ecosystem around that. Developing REST API services with OpenAPI dictates a certain methodology, a good methodology. First, the API of the service is defined, and then, only then, everything around it is constructed. There are many tools to help you do it right. Generating clients in most languages, generating service. So the cool thing is, if we use that, we could maybe generate client for our Dart code, like OpenAPI Dart generator. See, there is something. It's the Dart of the OpenAPI SDK code generator. With this library, you can generate OpenAPI client SDK libraries from your OpenAPI specification right in your Flutter Dart projects. Okay. So that means we have there something. So we can generate our Go code with it, and we can generate our Dart code with it. Generate servers in almost any language. Mock servers from Swagger files for testing purposes. Auto-generate from CLI. Okay. The architect, the service owner, and the service customer. When there are many players. Blah, blah, blah. Benefits, alternatives. There's a XAML, which is a Swagger. Yeah, there is also some alternatives like gRPC. I think this one is from Google, so they would love that we use that. So it is a complete different methodology. So you don't use REST anymore. So that is a little bit different. It's remote function calls or process calls. They're pretty crazy. OpenAPI and Swagger. There is not so much a difference. I think they renamed, like Swagger renamed to OpenAPI, and OpenAPI is the standard in the background. That means Swagger itself is more the documentation tool on top. And if you have ever seen Swagger, that's when you think about Swagger, it's usually that, how do you see that, the API documentation part. Maybe we find a demo somewhere. Swagger demo. So this one. So you get all the API endpoints, what you can do, you can click them open, you can test your application, you can see what the successful operation is. So that is, if you are getting into a company and you talk about Swagger, people usually refer to this page as Swagger, but that's actually way too less. Swagger creates this documentation out of your code. So you generate there like annotations and things to make sure that you describe your API endpoint as good as possible with all the possible returns, with all the possible responses, that there could be a code with invalid input and things like that. And when you have defined all of that, you generate this documentation out of it. But Swagger is way more. As I said, it's also including this OpenAPI standard now. So that means you can take this Swagger YAML file or OpenAPI Swagger file, and from that you generate then your code for the client and the service, so that your APIs are connecting immediately without any work, because that is auto-generated and they work correctly together. To gain the control over the Swagger specification, but after a short effort, they become very easy to understand. So you see, Swagger and OpenAPI are getting used interchangeable. So that means sometimes they call it Swagger, sometimes OpenAPI, but in general, they are nearly the same thing. Paths should be in plural form, and the pet should have been pets, pet blah blah blah. Okay. gives you a good feeling about the Swagger file. Below there is a very short example of a pet store including 3 endpoints: pet list, pet create, pet get, with the definition of the pet object. It is pretty descriptive, so I won't explain how the Swagger file blah blah blah. Okay, so let's have a look. So we have Swagger, the versioning, we give the infos, what is the version of the server, the title of the file, scheme, what that we want to HTTP calls. We have the host variable, so that would be for us any host information that we have. We have the base path, consumers, producers, so that we can see that we pass out JSON, but we receive also JSON. Then we have the different paths like /pets, /pets pet ID, and there are the different verbs that we have, the HTTP verbs like post or like get here. Any questions? So OpenAPI generates the boilerplate code for REST APIs, and does it also generate model classes? Actually, we will see. I think it will also generate model classes actually, because it has to serialize the objects into something and get them back. So it could be that we get there a serialized object, but we will see that. I'm not completely sure here. I don't want to lie. So we have the post, there we create something, we have an operation ID, which is create, parameters we get from the body, that called pet, it is required, and there is a schema defined. So it seems there are some schemas with this definition, and I think this is just another YAML file where we declare what exactly is a pet class in this case. So, and the same thing we do for the rest, and then we have the definitions for pet, for example, which is an object, requires a name, and has the properties ID, kind, and name. So here's exactly your question answered. So there is an object, it will auto-generate the model for us too. Flutter, Stratoscale, you may find them useful. Okay, Swagger editor, online editor for Swagger files. So here we probably can export and create us all the things. Yo, it's quite large actually. But with that we can define it, and as you can see we get then this nice little page from it. Okay. JetBrains Swagger editor. Oh, nice. Ah, JetBrains. So what is that? That's a plugin that helps Swagger and OpenAPI specifications. Okay, then let's check it out. So we go to our plugins, and here we search for the Swagger. Install it. Which one is it? Swagger, Zalando, Swagger Code Gen, OpenAPI specification. Oh, we have that already implemented. File supported. Okay, so maybe we don't even need that. Why is that? That looks anyway quite oldish. So maybe we remove that. Sorry for that. And because we have that OpenAPI anyway already, which seems validation by JSON, schema, navigation completion, code generation with Swagger. So the idea is really that we just create this OpenAPI file. You can't see that, but in my second monitor there's a very big Golang image at the moment, and I don't know why. So I will quickly close that Golang part here and hope that it is, yeah, it's gone. Thank you. That was super weird. I hope that doesn't appear again. Ah, no, it's gone. That was super weird. All right, so again, technical difficulties as always. So any questions so far? No, fantastic. So we have this editor. I think we don't even need that because we have it into IntelliJ. We'll not use something separate here. Generating code, client and server. Swagger Code Gen, a tool for code generation in many different languages. So let's read about that. Swagger Code can simplify your build process by generating server stubs and client SDK for any API, defining OpenAPI known so your team can. I would like to know which languages it supports. Swagger for Teams, whatever. Editor Code Gen. Is there available clients? Do we see Dart here? So I see Go already. That's good. And Dart, perfect. So I think we are fine. Let's download. Let's try that. So what do we have? We have the CodeGen and Swagger Hub, automated server stub, automated SDK generation, hosting and maintaining, collab, third party. Don't need all of that. Probably it's just a lot of advertisement. Yeah. Wow. So what do we have here? Spec is obtained from untrusted source. Please make sure you've reviewed your code generation. Yeah, that makes sense. Swagger CodeGen supports Swagger Open API version 2, version 3. Okay. Get started. So to generate a PHP client, please run the following. Okay, then we have all that. So we clone the Swagger CodeGen, we go inside of it, then we Maven clean. Okay, so we go with Java there. Okay, but the good thing is we have all that. So let's try that, I guess. So let's go to Warp. And before we do anything crazy, let's see if we have in our Goland any uncommitted changes. No, it's fine. So I hope you are fine with that little experiment inside of Go to create our REST API with that, because else, yeah, I would do things that you are not interested in. That would be a shame. Okay, now we have that, and the idea is that we create like an Open API folder probably. Let's do that for now. Open API, we're just together. Open API. So, good. And then we would just inside of this folder, we would just copy that inside. So Open API, and we clone our Swagger code generator. Oh, on the other side, no, that's not a good idea. I forgot something, because we don't want to have that CLI in our repository, right? So that doesn't make sense. We go, of course, outside of the project, probably inside of our projects folder, cd others. And inside of the others folder, we would like to clone that. And here we can work then, and then we probably link that stuff into where we need it. So, where is our, here. So that means here, Open API, Swagger, exactly. Then we have to go into, if you're Windows, you can download the jar to get a list of general options. And then we can use, to generate a sample client library, you can build a client against Swagger sample pet store API as follows. Bin Java pet store sh. But why Java pet store? Okay, so modules, Swagger code CLI target, Swagger CLI generate, HTTP, pet store, Swagger IO, swagger.json. So it takes a file from somewhere. Then it says where it should be the output and where to put it, where the output should be. So the input is a file, a Swagger.json in this case. Then we say which language, and then we give in where the client should reside. Okay. So that means we go to our Swagger CodeGen, Maven. What was the question? What was the command we should do? Sorry for that. Up. Maven clean package. Clean package. Command not found Maven. Yeah, that could be. So what can I do? Why is Maven not found? I have Maven probably not installed. Deepmap is written in pure Go and much easier to use. Thank you, Jimbo. That's cool information. So let's take that. O API code gen Deepmap. This one, generate code client and server. Okay, so that's the same thing as Swagger probably then. The Swagger as CLI, sorry for that. So we go and rmrf. Let's get rid of the Swagger stuff then, because don't want to have so much stuff in my on my servers here. So that's not too much. Good, so Open API, I was here already, you see? Ha! So how to get started with this generated server boilerplate overview. We are going to use Open API example, expanded pet store, okay. In order to create a Go server to serve this exact schema, you would have to write a lot of boilerplate code to perform all the marshalling, unmarshalling. That's so true. The code generation in this directory does a lot of that for you. You would like to run so go install. We install the dependency, okay, and we install that as a Go package and recommended by the community. Alright, let me show the chat here. So yes, but go by the community. All right. So generated server boilerplate. We have some errors where we get some error, and we have the messages. Oh, I like that a lot. Omit empty. Did not know that this is possible. So we get the structures. We have the server interfaces. Okay. And what can I create everything? So what are the languages I can create? Client. Type server, G server. Client with responses. Okay. So what can I create for clients would be a good question. Do I know that? So Dart? No, don't find that this way. Let's first install it. Maybe we find very easily there how because as you can see, we can then execute it. And I have the feeling that we can there call the help command. So let's try that. Go to our warp. Let's go into our project actually for that. CD, what's the name, Warcraft 3, and here we say go install. I think it's installing anyway globally here, but let's see. Easy JSON, Xtools, deep copy, invo pop YAML, go open API swag, okay, and Mailra easy JSON. Okay, quite some dependencies here. And now open API package pet store. So it creates a package for us with the YAML file, and then it will go to the Go part. But this only generates for Go, right? This package is a set of utilities to generate Go boilerplate. Yeah, so it's only for Go code in this case. Then we have to figure out, probably we can then use this open API generator to use it for the Go part. Swagger is interesting. I think it is partially open source, but it is a company and they try to sell their Swagger Hub, I think. So they earn their money by live support and additional stuff. So you see, they have their open source variant and they have their pro variant. So if you are an enterprise or a company, you would probably have to use the Go, the more expensive part. But if you are, like we, then you can use the open source part and you shouldn't have too many downsides. Okay, Gin Gorilla. We have chosen to focus on Echo as a default HTTP routing engine due to its speed and simplicity. Have also added by contribution as additional routers. We choose Echo because of the context of a mockable interface and it allows advanced testing. Oh. To be too simple rather than too generic. So we have made the design decision in favor of the simplicity, knowing that can't change a strongly typed Go code for all possible open APIs. If there is a way to accomplish something via utility, reflection is probably a better approach than code generation. Okay. So it seems that it is possible to generate Gin code from it. That's quite cool, because we need that. But it is written to choose Echo as additional routers. So how do I have to understand that? So that means we use Gin here. Register your HTTP handlers based on the type of server generated. Generate server, generate Gin. The usage of Gin is out of scope of this doc, but once you have a Gin instance, we generally a utility function to help you associate your handlers with the auto-generated code. Register handlers with options. Okay, we get the engine and then all the handlers are generated inside of it. Gonna be interesting, I guess. There's a lot of generated stuff then. Get pets. So the question is, should we switch to our Echo as a default HTTP routing? Wow. Quite some interesting routes, but hey, geez, Echo versus Gin, I mean, it's crazy. Maybe it's worth to do it. Always interesting if you don't know the languages and you stumble upon a new package and then you think, should I do it new? Okay, but anyway, let's try to generate our code instead of trying to refactor our whole app already. So gRPC we don't need, we work with this, and now let's try to generate something. And here is that pet store YAML example. Let me open that. So the reason or why I would like to do that is just creating this stuff here for now. So in our case, if I go to our Goland, we would need some kind of generation YAML file. So how do we call that? Warcraft free game tracker.yaml. Not sure yet. So and inside of here we would have then all the specification for OpenAPI. So I will copy that for now. So just that I have all the informations for us. So, and I can run that. Why should I run that? Okay, weird. What is this? Okay, oh, that's nice. It creates me HTTP files from that. That's fantastic. So even that I don't have to worry anymore. So if you don't know, HTTP files we created here, like this and like this, to get all these requests. But with this, I can then directly easily use it. That's pretty cool. So let's see how we can change that. Warcraft free game tracker. So a simple and sample API to make Warcraft free leaks more accessible. Or leak data more accessible. So something like that. Terms of usage, we don't have that. So Flutter explain.dev/ impressum probably. So the contact Max Weber. We'll do that later. And here we also pass in HTTPS Flutter explained.dev. The license Apache 2, I think that's fine for now. The server's URL, this is where it needs to run at the end. Pet store Swagger.io, we don't have one yet, so probably I take HTTP localhost for now. What was it? Pet store Swagger.io. Probably I just call it localhost Swagger.io. Make that HTTP version 2. Don't even know why, but okay, let's have an endpoint there. Probably it's API v1 then for us. Let's see. Good, then we have, let's try to generate one of the APIs that we have already, like we wanted to create this group part, right? So get all groups, etc. pp. So we have groups and we have a get groups where we have the description. This will return all the groups from a leak. No, from all groups that exist in our database, in our current database. So operation ID, find groups, don't know, something like that. Parameters, tags, limit, maximum number of results. I think at the moment we don't have a parameter for that. We have a response, pet response, yeah. All groups currently say stored. So then what do we have here? So we have array, yes, we get that. Component, schema, and this is a group. And probably, it can't find it, that's nice. So that means down here in our schemas, we have then to create a group. All of reference new group object ID. What is that? This is a schema. Let's create a new one. Group type object required true. Is it required? Don't know. Let's keep it for now. Then we have properties. such as, what is a group? Let's see in the models again. So we have ID, type. What is the type of that? It's UUID, but probably a string then here. Let's see. We go back to our, that's over there. Let's see if you have some questions. No, all good. I saw, not here, but inside of that Swagger part. Was it here? No, I think I saw somewhere what types we can get. Was it here inside? No. Swagger supported types. Data types. String, number, integer, boolean, array, and object. While object probably is a reference to another schema, I could imagine. The data type of the schema by type keyword, type string, OpenAPI defines a basic type. Though there may be different names using these types, you can describe any data structures. Note that there is no null type. Instead, the nullable attribute is used as a modifier of the base type. Okay. Type makes a single value. Type is a list is not valid in open source, even though it is valid in JSON. Okay. That means for the parameters. Do they don't have support for enums then? Probably not, no. You will get a string from that, but that makes sense because if you serialize an enum, there is enums, let's wait, sorry. You can use enum keyword to specify possible values of requested parameters or model properties. For example, the sort parameter in get can be described as, and then you have the enum ascendant and descendant. I'm sorry, again, I talk bullshit, you know. Easy as that, can take that, works. Hash map, arrays, one of all, any of all, not of all. Adding examples, authentication, links, callbacks. Authentication is also possible. The term security scheme for authentication and authorized schemes. OpenAPI 3.0 lets you describe APIs protect using the following security schemes. HTTP with barrier and basic. API key, OAuth 2, OpenID. That's interesting. That means I don't have to set up everything myself. I could just use that then, and it works. That's nuts. That's pretty cool. Cookie authentication, links, referral. So you see there is a lot to it. That's not, and this is just the beginning, I think. Media types. So ID type integer name. The type integer name is a string, full time is boolean, and so on and so forth. Okay, but interesting. Then let's go further. I think if we go here, we still have the ID. In our case, ID. The type is a string because we are using a UUID. There is a format part. What can I pass in as a format? Can I see that? Format. Int 42, int 64, binary. String format UUID. Haha, look at that. UUID. Fantastic. So we know that this ID needs to be a UUID. Even that we can specify. That's cool because that reduces a lot of pressure. Hey, voice of the first. Nice to see you. Yep. So going here, then we can see the chat of both of you. By the way, if you have time, it would be fantastic if you also join on kick.com, where I try to establish the live stream a little bit more, and where I also play some games and do different things than just coding at the end. Okay, so the format is clear, UUID. Then we have a different proposition. Let's make that a little bit easier to follow. We want to split that side by side by split right. And what I also want to have here is the model. So group models comes also over here. So maybe even there. So now we can read all of it. So group model, then we have the name, type string, format, name, don't know. What can I add here? Name, email. Oh, so I can really verify that the format is correct then at the end. Nice. So the name can be anything, I guess. Then we have a leak ID, type string, format, UUID, and then we have admin, which is from type string. Can be anything. Vetoes, which is from type integer, format, int 32. I think we don't need too many spaces here, maximum of 3. Maps per match. It's also type integer, format, it's also int 32. And last but not least, the status. The status is just a string. And oh no, status is actually an enum. Can I create now such an enum? Let's see. So format in progress, finished, don't know, and others. So that will be probably a migration thing that we have to do in the future. But let's see if this is correctly done, because I forgot a little bit how the enums worked. So open API, specification, here, media types. So let's search for format enum. I think we can just close that, and I think I found it here somewhere. Media types, data model, schema, enums. Schema type string enum, and then passing in the names. Okay, gotcha. So that is not formats, it's enum, and then we have in progress and finished. Don't know what is else. It needs to be a bracket. Not in strings. Okay, simple enough. It's just like this. Interesting. Okay, so now that means we can access the group up there, right? So in our group schema, we have an array of groups. Nice, got that. So all groups currently stored, default, unexpected error, definition, and schema with error. Is there anything wrong with the error object? Code and message, no, that looks good. I think we can reuse that. Unexpected error. Content, okay. Should I enter also some numbers? I don't know, like error code? This is the describe request body, responses. Response 200, okay, and schema, okay. What do we have? We scroll up. We have the group, and this is the response 200. And if we get an error, it defaults, and the default is 500. The question is, what is the default here? 404 not found. Okay, so we have to really define them as responses then. And here's the default definition: all error statuses. Okay, so that's just all the errors defaults to that. But we don't know which number that is. You can use default response to describe these errors collectively, not individual. Default means this response is used for all HTTP codes that are not covered individually for this operation. Okay, so it's like the fallback number. So probably 500 actually. Good. So that being said, we have our first getter created, and now we want to also create groups, right? So for that, we remove that because we have done that. And we don't need all of that, but we have this create new group handler. And I think that would be the post. Creates a new pet in the store. Creates a new group for a specific league. Add group. Request body. Pet to add to the store. Aha. Group that we want to add to the league. Require true, exactly, then this is a group. But here is important that the ID can be null. How can I say that? So it is ID null. Data types, I think I wrote something about nullable. So the nullable attribute, do we see nullable somewhere? Nullable true, okay. So nullable true. Doesn't have to be set, right? Okay. Where are we? Here. So we post our create new group, add group required. We pass in the scheme that we need. And then we response with pet response. The pet response or the group response. I hope this explains why this is sometimes there or sometimes not. And then we have an unexpected error. Fantastic. So simple enough, we have our creation. And now the question is, we go to the endpoint groups here. Not sure, but let's do that. For creating a new group into groups makes maybe sense. I think also what I would like to do instead of a 200, I would like to, what is the HTTP code for creation? 201, exactly. So because we created on the DB, we would like to pass out the 201. Good. That we have. And then I would like to have one group handler. That is actually a variant of this one. This will return all groups that exist, but I would like to have it also if I pass the with a dollar sign. So if I pass in parameters into that URL, then I would like to receive something else. So how can we do that? Paths and operation / user with this ID part. Okay, so that means we would have this, and the path would be groups / ID, something like that. BMZG, nice to hear you. You're working on a mail server right now. Okay, sounds quite interesting. I think Go is amazing. I also really like to work in it. It's very expressive, what I really enjoy. And it's very different to all the other high-level languages that I'm getting used to. So especially with Dart, for example, where you have null safety and things like that, it's like the compiler jumps in your face and say, hey, you do something wrong. But as soon as you have this nice little asterisk here, it's getting already quite interesting. The good old pointers everywhere, right? So we have get, we have post, we have our group's ID, and now, what is that? If I do a get request to that, I would like to receive a special, exactly one. So we copy that over. I think we can copy nearly everything from it. Group. So groups, and pass in that here. Get rid of that. So in the description, get a group that matches with the ID provided. Find group 200 because we get one. One specific group. This is not an array, this is an object in this case from group. Fantastic. And the default is the error. There's another thing I need, that is the request body. And inside of here, we have to specify that we receive an ID. So in my opinion, where did I have that? Not in the getter, in the post. The description, okay. Let's copy that over again so that we don't miss it. Did the request body have a description? Yeah, it has. Required true. Okay. But I copied it twice, so this is how it should look. So this is the group ID that matches with an ID of a group created. Required true, application JSON, that's true, that fits. And what I would like to do is what happens, so at the moment we have only 200 and a full fail, right? So we get 200 or the default error. And what I would like to do is also giving it a different number for source not found, you know? So there could be that we don't find, we don't find the source on this, what I want to say, sorry, I had a long night, Lily didn't sleep well, so I'm getting a little bit slow. No, it's not the verb that I search, it's the status code. So, and what I wanted to say is we have a failure on the server that we can't find the element, and I would like to find a corresponding error code if there is one. Not found or something like that. 400 too early. Not found, maybe? Not found 404 could be a good one. Cannot find the requested resource. Yeah, I think that's fine. So we call it 404. Description. There is no group existent to the given ID. So, hey. Good, so that's that. And what would be the content? Application JSON from schema with a ref to our component. I think we can copy that over, by the way. Don't write everything yourself, right? So, great. Okay, and with that we define more and more our API, and with that we have our groups finished actually already. So that's way faster than I did the last time, I guess. Good. And with that we have these handlers, and probably all of that will be gone then after the creation. The thing is, because we need a league ID for the groups to work well, I would have to create also the endpoints for the league directly. So, and I would recommend to directly do that. Returns the ID, I think does not have 200 default integers required. Oh yeah, true, by the way, this ID that we receive. Oh wait, what is that? No, that's anyway completely a mess. It's not a request body. Wait. This is a parameter that we receive. Ay. Running into my own traps here. In path, a description ID of the group to fetch, required true. The schema is a string from type UUID. So, great. Some companies would not like that you expose the UUID directly in the URL, so to keep that in mind. So to do something like this could be for some companies a security risk. Or it could be at least not nice for the users, so that they don't like that slash and with that big URL in the back. Not necessarily a problem for everyone, but just keep in mind that there are some companies who have restrictions to that. Thank you, by the way, for all the follows on kick.org. That helps me at kick.com. That helps me a lot. Good. Back to work. We have now this where we get all the IDs running with the group IDs. So next would be to define our league system. Delete deletes a single pet of the list. Okay, so there is a delete command in this case. We don't want that yet. Maybe in the future. Okay, so removing all that. And let's get cracking. That means we have here a leagues possibility, and now let's copy more or less what we have here. Can I copy that over? So, and instead of groups we call it leagues, where we get all the things. And we do now the same thing as before. We put that on the split right side. And no, it's the leaks model I would like to open, and I would like to have that separate. Perfect. So, and being here. Good. So from our creation, this is our model that we have with the custom time. Really interesting how that works now with the date time. If we can do it at even as easy as I think. And on the right side, we have all our handlers. So we have the all leaks handler, which is just a get request at the end. So this will return all the groups, all the leaks that exist in our current database, find groups. So don't expose too much information where it resides, that it is in the database, who cares actually, you know. Leaks that are currently stored in an array, and now we return the leak schema. Jump down, and here is our pet that is not used anymore. Oh nice, it's getting even grayed out, perfect. Leak, so, oh wait, there was something interesting. That means we have a pet, all of new pet, and it requires an ID. So a new pet don't need an ID. This is how it is specified. So what I would like to do here for us is we have a group, which could be new group, and then we have a group, which we say it's type object probably, and then we say all of, okay, all of. It includes everything from new group. Okay, it has this reference, sorry, so just take that over. All of this referenced new pet will be new group. So, and it requires also the ID. Type object require ID, which is a string from format UUID. UUID. Great stuff. So now we have that. Require ID, we get the ID, and now what we can do is for the creation of the group, here where we create a new group, there I said this one is nullable. You remember here? That is not necessary anymore. We can just drop it. For a new group, we don't need the ID. And now here we can say we pose, we create a new group, and we pass in a new group. But what we respond is a full group with the ID. That's great, or? That's a cool solution. I love that. Such an easy change, but so much impact. That's amazing. So, and the same thing we would then have for our leak and new leak. I just hope that it doesn't create then two objects for us at the end, like two models, but I think it's smart enough. Then we have a leak, and instead of new pet, we have new leak probably. Also here we have the reference to a new leak in our case. It has also an ID, integer, it's also wrong, it's a UUID. And it is required. Cool, so the leak is set, and here in the new leak we have to set all the other information. What do we have? Name, start date, end date, and website. Okay, so we don't require anything of it. That would be a name string. The tag could be start date. And here I'm curious now, is the date... Oh. There is no time as a topic. So let's see how we would do that. If I check the data models, we probably get only object as a possibility. Let's see, open API date time or date format, yeah. And then this is data type. What is correct to declare a date in open API? Yeah, that would be the question. The open date says you must use string date. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Stack Overflow. All right, so that means we have here string for the format of date, and better date time, because it could have a specific time when the date is ending. End date, type string, format, date time. I have the feeling that this here will be a lot of conversion. That makes a lot of work at the end. But hey, this is how it works, right? So, and the last part is website, where we have the type string, format URL, UI, no, HTTP web, no, okay, so it's just a string. Simple enough. Okay, for our endpoint, that would mean we have leaks where we get all the leaks. We find leaks. All leaks currently stored is an array of leak. Fantastic. With IDs, yeah. So that makes sense. We get still the error. So it creates a new leak. Add leak. Exactly, just add a new leak. So this is new leak. We get the group response, which will be our leak response. We get that, and this one returns us a leak because here there needs to be an ID and we return an error. Full stop. That makes everything sense right now. Should we... Thank you Arzheilig and Nushi Mekta for joining on kick.com. Great to have you. So where are you? There is no chat coming, that's good. Nothing I missed so far, that's good. Okay, so now we have the leaks and we need also to get specific leaks, right? Hey Toriko, good, nice to see you. So as you see, we updated a little bit and go to the OpenAPI specification. So we have the getter and setter, and I think we can do it the same way. We have leak, leaks, and then we pass in the ID. Then we get the whole thing, and I think we can just copy, let's copy this one especially, because I think that's quite close with all that stuff. Good, all that get part, leaks, get leaks here. You can make auto with get swag. Yeah, I know. I just want to create my API endpoints. Or what do you mean with auto? We use a different auto generator. That is the name OAPI code gen. This one. So. My laptop is dying. Why not use auto OpenAPI generator? I do that, or is there even a more? I mean, what do you mean? Swaggo. There is a plugin so-called Swag. Okay, but how would I do that? I mean, I have to write all that stuff, or do you think there is a plugin inside of code here that I don't see? So Swag. There's Swagger, I found that. Another Swagger code gen. What is that doing? It takes a JSON, outputs, formats it, and gives us an output folder. This is what we want to do later. Swagger provides support for... Okay, and then this is that. And then Tariko Good says that there is a GitHub repo for Swaggo. Swaggo... Go. What is that now? Swag converts Go annotations to Swagger documentation 2.0. We have created a variety of plugins for popular Go web frameworks. But this just creates us the Swagger UI, or if I understand that, or what is that doing exactly for us? Support web framework, how to use it with Gin. So, and there I have to declare all that stuff. Okay. Swagger example, API contact. Okay. Additionally, some general API info can be set dynamically. Code package docs. But this is, as I said, a generator for the documentation, more or less. What we want is actually create our API from OpenAPI standpoint, or is that a misunderstanding from my side right now? Let's see. From function, it will generate all swag in GitHub. Ah, so you mean I should define my current existent API frameworks with that? And then it will create me the Swagger parts from that. I thought about it to remove actually all the things that I have created, like that model should be gone, that Go part should be gone, and I auto-generate then everything with OpenAPI. That was my idea actually. But if we want to turn it around, that's also fine for me. What do you think? No worries. It's perfectly fine. It's great to hear that, Freeman. Can check Java, Spring Doc, same annotations. Yeah, I know that one actually. Okay. So how should we go forward now? Do we want? I think what makes sense is to define at least the main Go part. To define that with Swaggo. Where was it? Sorry, here. And what is the idea? Add comments to your API, declarative comments format. Title, version, description, tag name, contact name, all that can be then inside there. Produce. Seller controller. Download swag to build from source Go newer or download pre-release swag init, which contains the main Go file. This will parse your comments and generate the required files in the docs.go folder. But to generate docs.go so that your specified configuration gets initted. Your general API annotations do not live in main Go. You can let swag know with G flag. To swag comment. Swag CLI can do all kinds of stuff, and it creates Gin. How to use it with Gin after swag init to generate Swagger 2.0 docs. Import the following packages. Okay, so we come to one problem that we use Swagger 3.0 at the moment, right? That could be an issue. Some general API info can be set dynamically. The general docs exports Swagger info variable, which can be set as a title. Okay, so you know what? Let's try it out. Why not? Doesn't lose anything. In the worst case, some time. So let me do one thing, and let's keep that in our version control for now. Is there anything that we have to add besides of all this info? Let me get rid of that quickly. I think it is quite finished. One specific wait. Let me quickly finish that last part, because then we are finished, and then I can push that, and then let's try and use that Swaggo part, that we don't lose it. There are some new messages. I finished your API with Go Fiber Warcraft. That's great that you are already finished with my API. Okay, so we have that. We have this stuff. Get a leak that matches the ID provided. Find leak. We have an ID, IT of the leak. Your UID, one specific group, and we don't get a group, we still get a leak, which is leak, and here in the description we have no leak exists to the given ID. So, easy. Good. So with that, I think we have generated at least a Swagger file that we can use, like feature, created a new Swagger file to enable Open API to generate our API in the future. Good, so we don't lose that at least. So next step. You are telling me that I should take all this information that I created up here into our main.go, and we have to add this Why Golang server? Just for fun, actually. It's like learning experience for me and getting an understanding how everything works. And when we have the open API part, we can even take a look into how we can convert everything into a Dart server or any other server. So it's no particular reason besides of I heard Go is good and I should learn Go. I hope that makes sense. It's not the best reasons, I know, but hey. So swag init, swag CLI, gin. So let's see. We would like to get all this stuff on top of it. We say this is our main chunk. And then we more or less split that to the right. And let's see. Oh, look at that. IntelliJ now picks up the versioning here and directly shows us all the different parts. That is pretty cool. So we see already how everything will look in the future if we receive it or send it. Nice. I'm quite happy with that actually. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Okay, back to our tooling. So what do we do? Title would be this, I guess. Version sticks with 1.0. This is a sample server. I think we can use that. So also a good topic for my for my next video on Flutter Explained, I guess, the whole open API topic. So pretty cool to have a look into it. Contact Max Weber, that's me. And my website is flutterexplained.dev. And the contact email we skip for now. License name is 02, that's fine. Localhost 8080, that sounds wrong. I think we are on 3000. API v1 is correct. Security definitions is basic out. I think that's fine for now. External docs open API. I think we don't have that, so I remove that for now. Good. Then let's try and go to our warp. Clear that, and we would like to. Nope, that's not what I want. We would like to initialize everything. That was somewhere written above. Rget Swagger, any Jin Swagger, Rep Handler. V1 is a group. Swagger files handler. So probably general API annotation for main Go. Import. Yeah, but first I have to install it. Okay, let's follow the tutorial in the right order. Sorry, I'm always a little bit in all places if I read docs. So clear. So we have the stuff installed. To build from Go or download a precompiled release page, run swagger init in your project's root folder, which contains the main Go. This will pass your comments and generate the required files. Okay, inside of the docs part. Swag. No, wait, what was it? Swag init. Swag init. Doesn't find swag. To build your from source, you need Go newer. Okay, didn't I do that? I did. Go swag. Go run swag. No, clear. Okay, I see. That means something weird. Add counts to download swag by using to build your from source. You need Go newer or download a precompile. Run swag init. Make sure to import generated docs Go so the specific init general APIs. Use swag swag CLI. So there is a swag CLI, but it didn't install. How do I use that now? Is that wrong? Should not now that be automatically in my terminal? How, where? Wait. We installed already beforehand something. Before swag, what was that? Oh, API code gen. But this is just for usage inside of our project, right? That means if I do this, then I can add now more or less all these things, these import statements here, right? So that means inside of our Goland, I could now import this. No, it's also not synced. That's odd. Swag. Not execute swag in terminal. I'm not the only one. Swag init not working. Ubuntu Mozilla. Go get swag. Please reopen it if you have any questions. Okay. Swag command not found. Go get not working. Me too. Make sure your go path isn't go. That is probably the problem. So go env go path. Where do I find go? Okay, that's already the command for it. Perfect. So that means we go to the famous ZASRHC file. So stuff. Where's our beloved file? Here we go. Is the go? You probably, you know what? Why do I do that in this ugly terminal? Let's go into our cd. No, we don't have to. vim.zsrjc. Now this is beauty. Look at this. So let's see. Do we have the go path installed? Go. No go. That is the problem. So we should have this path initialized. And do I need some bin path? Okay, could work already. So let's write and quit, exit, and restart a new terminal, which will hopefully split down. Thank you. Clear, swag. Nope. The question is export path swag. Go env. What do we see here? Go env. And what do we want? The go path. Do I have a go path actually set? Yes, user main max go open folder. Let's see. We have only pkp inside mod. Cloud Google Go open census golang org. This is where the whole parts are coming from. There is nothing. Frickin' Swaggo, why are you so mad at me? That's bad. I have the same issue with macOS. The path is correctly set up, but it still doesn't work. It works now after updating. If you try Swagger in an undefined project, it will not work. What is an undefined project? Go path bin swag. I didn't execute this one here. Maybe that's the issue. So let's try that. Swag. Maybe because the path is not set. Wait. So I go here. Go. Something change inside of here. Did we get the Swaggo? Download. No Swaggo. No such word. Bin swag. There is no swag. I'm swagless. It's not actually a swag issue. Create a swag in Go path can be found in user. Which user is PC user? It's working for me. Go you should see swag, then run. Export path. Go bin. Go bin. Oh, it's got 2 reasons. Go bin. This should return a path like. Okay. Okay, let's see where GoBin is. Go and then GoBin, or yeah. Go and GoBin. Oh, that's a different path again. And GoBin is probably where the real files are installed, and this one is also not. Yeah, so you can see here is the folder, and beautiful. So again, cd dot dot vim. Let's go to zsh vim.zshrc, and then we do the same thing as we. No, that's not what I want. Cube. Want that. So, and instead of go path, what we need to do is insert go bin. Probably that will work already. So we're right and quit. Probably have to restart the terminal. So down and swag. Go home. Was it not working? Is it installed is the question, right? So go and go bin. Didn't even watch it. So there is swag initialized. So that means if I use this path, go bin, no, swag, we go somewhere. Okay, that's all right. That means our Vim stuff is not correct. Let's go to this here. Go and go. Let's change that slightly. Take that here with the path. Go with home slash remove all that, and then we just say that was go. What was the? Let's split up to the right, and I will need go and go bin again. User, okay. This is home, and then just go bin. Great. Clear. And we can close that one. Thank you. Swag. Probably have to restart the terminal and split down. Swag. Sorry everyone, that took way longer than it should have. Alright, so if you ever have used problems with the nice little, you forgot source ZSH. Nice, thank you for source. That was exactly the command that I searched for to reset my thing. Good old pathing issues. But with this one you can even restart the ZSSRC. That's pretty cool. Nope, that doesn't work. Why not? Because there's this one. And dot. ZSHRC, that's correct. It's a ZSHRC. So this way. Perfect. And with that you have set up the terminal and restarted everything in the background. So that's fantastic. Anyway, swag in it. So we created some stuff, our server has restarted, and we have now a Swagger JSON, Swagger YAML, and generated general API information in the search dir /. So let's see how that turns out. Ooh, Carlos, welcome! Beautiful. Was that for a smiley? Didn't know that. So let's see. With that, we have created something. And what did we create actually? So we have a docs folder, I think. And here we have now more stuff. We have docs.go. What is that? Doc template, Marshall, Swagger, description stuff. Okay. And from that, the JSON has been generated, I guess. Indeed it has. Great stuff. And the Swagger YAML. We create both directly. Interesting. Good. Now we have that. And now that means for all the endpoints, I would have to create now the documentation, right? So for where? Yeah, here. And then we switch to Swagger init. We can remove that. So we have all that. And then we can add this stuff. That means we will show that in the server, right? So that means if I have this getter command, we have this, we go to our server setup. have our router, set up server, API registration, and here we register another call on the Swagger get any R is in our case API. Oh wait, is API correct? Router it is. So, and with that we have set up our Swagger, and if we make /Swagger with anything, then we receive the files. So that means if my hot restart with air is working correctly, we should be able to go to localhost, Swagger. I don't think I have to pass anything, right? I have to. Any? Not found. Okay. So probably my hot restart did not work. There is a 404 Swagger any Gin GitHub Swagger any GitHub Swagger custom wrapper funk 5 handlers. So it is registered as a getter. You trust all proxies, who cares? Then we have that Swagger stuff. But it's a 404 latency, blah blah blah, not found. Sad. So maybe I misunderstood anything. So how did that work now? Or get Swagger any Gin Swagger wrap handler? Gin Swagger wraps HTTP handler into Gin handler funk. Additionally, some general API info can be set dynamically. The generated code packs docs export its Swagger info variable, which we can use to set the title, description, version, host, and base path programmatically. Example using Gin. Oh, I can even programmatically change Swagger information now. Okay. Wrap handler use middleware to serve the API docs. I thought to serve the API docs. I thought that should work. Or maybe is this star any a little bit wrong or misleading? What is that now? Operation annotation in controller. Show account, go docs, summary, show account, description, tags, accept, produce, success, failure, and there we define all the different things. So we could use that for our already existent parts, right? But why is that now broken? Gnu r get Swagger any. Let me quickly restart the server just out of curiosity if this is the problem. Clear docker compose up. Runs, perfect. So let's go to localhost 3000. This page is under construction, fantastic. /Swagger, not found. And any star? No, still not found. Maybe it complains because I don't have anything defined yet, besides of the title and so on. Main contact name, all that stuff. You have to import it. Maybe this is the problem. So let's go to our main go. Where do I have to import it? Where is it used somewhere? Let's do that in the server setup. Maybe there we have a chance. So that means we have the import of docs. /docs. Go. Import specification. I would like to go up there. Probably VC3 game tracker. Docs? No, also not. Is that the right folder? Nice, really, that works. Okay. For side effects, let's see if it's now working. So, reload and maybe also reload the server. go to /swagger. Nope. Do you have an idea? Maybe I'm stupid. Base path. Restart to... the base path v1. What a beauty. That makes sense. Thank you. API/v1/swagger. Page not found. Okay, that makes sense. So what is the base path that we have created? Is it... That's true. So the base path is localhost 3000 API v1. And maybe now we have twice the things on top. Because I have created this API prefix. Now I'm a little bit unsure how this is working. So if it is getting the... But it takes the get route. No, it doesn't have a base path, or... I mean, it... Or is it on top of that? Localhost 3000 API v1 swagger /any. What happens if I remove that? Still not. This page is not working, not found. Okay, no. All the good ideas have been gone to nothing. I don't... Swagger docs JSON. Okay, let's try that. Swagger docs JSON. Page not found. Let's add the base path. API/v1. Oops. I guess it's super small for you to read what I'm entering here, right? So maybe this is better. So API, localhost, HTTP, docs. Does it know that I'm... Maybe because the host is localhost 3000 without HTTP. Maybe this is a problem. Maybe like that. Sure. Docs go swag. So now we have here the host. Let's see, reload. Crazy. Okay, now it's trying out. Let's read quickly into it. Maybe we find something. So we have the controller. Okay. Run your app. Localhost swagger index HTML. Okay. Localhost 3000/swagger/index.html. Nope. We'll see Swagger 2 documents as shown below the swag formatter. To serve the API docs. Swagger files and the other thing. Maybe I don't have that in my path. Instead of the setup go, what do we import? Swagger files, engine Swagger. No, that should do the trick. Okay, maybe I have to. Or better. Do we need that actually? And start any, I think. Good. Now here we have that. Oh yeah. Okay, so it's the index HTML. Who should know that, you know? Okay, so we get our first things. We don't have any operation defined in our spec, which makes sense. That would be that we define now inside of our API, we called it. I think they talked about controllers. And now here we would like to add these things. So what do we get then? We get now the Swagger YAML, and this one contains all our informations. But is that now such a benefit? I mean, if I would like to create my code from the YAML file, this is now the vice versa, right? It's the opposite way around. So I would like to either more using this file to generate all the things that we need for this. Now the question is, can I do that also? And I think it's not that way around, or it is more that I write something in code and I generate then the docs for that. Paths operation, describe parameters, describe a REST body, describe responses, MIME types, authentication, API keys, adding examples, Swagger extensions, enums. So yes, I think it is the opposite way around. Or do I see that wrong? Make doc as base path, base path, base path. Make doc as base path. Docs missing in server setup. It's auto-generated. Yes. Okay. Make /doc as base path. Ah. Okay. But I think that works fine. Good. So now I'm a little bit lost what we should work on next. Sorry, I had to think a little bit. So let me understand what we did. So we have initialized Swagger. We have brought in this Swag init. We added a lot of description into our source code, which is actually a fine thing. We create out of that our Swagger JSON. And that means we have now our source code where we write something, then we define it, but can we also generate now out of this Swagger JSON our endpoints? I think that would be weird, or this is more like I create the endpoints and then I put Swagger on top of it. Yeah. And then I have this YAML file and can generate my clients from it. At least this is a good thing. So whenever we use it then in our Flutter application, we can use it to create our Dart files. Good. That's already quite something. Let me think. That means from that step on, we could take the next step would be then to add all these documentations to these parts. And also to our models probably, right? But would that mean that I have to create then So if I make that nullable, would that mean I have to create this new group and group thing as we did that in our other way? We can say this is a parameter, security, basic, failure, produce, seller controller using markdown. Let's go back to our example here. So list accounts go doc, list accounts, summary list accounts, summary list accounts, description get accounts, tags accounts, accept JSON, produce JSON. We have a parameter q query string false. Okay, this is what we can pass in. We get our success and our different errors and our router. So let's copy that once just to try it out, and inside of our group we would have our all groups handler, for example, and that would mean we have list accounts. Okay, this is a private function. Summary list all groups, get groups, JSON. We parameter for all, we don't have one. Success gives us back a model.account. In our case, it's model.group. Does it find that? Group model? Model.group. Models.group. Now it found it. HTTP util, HTTP error. Probably I don't have that. This is probably an import. Replace. So HTTP util. Yeah, here we go. Unused import for side effects. Okay. No, this one he found, this one he don't. Okay, no idea. And this is from the router accounts. And is that right? This is from the router groups. So now, would I make now another swag init is the question. Yes. Good. Swag init. Generate model groups. Okay. Parse comment error. Warcraft 3 group.go cannot find type definition. HTTP error. Okay. He cannot access this HTTP util as I thought. So let's try it this way. Even if it complains and it doesn't, it does. Can I somehow make that? Optimize import, delete import alias, save to directory. Optimize is just removing it, right? On the other hand, I have this imported already. So if this is there, then maybe it's just wrong, HTTP. How could I access that from my stuff? So if I'm here, HTTP util dot HTTP error. Doesn't exist on that. That's the problem. This HTTP error does not exist. Can you try using HTTP dot? Text plain sniff write code. Error code. Error replies to the request with the specific error message and HTTP code. It does not otherwise and the request the caller should. Yeah, I think that's the right way to do it. Good swag in it. Parse cement error again. Cannot find HTTP error. Okay, it sounds like I'm not really happy with that library so far. So what's the issue? So don't pass in too much info from my side. Cannot find a parse, cannot find definite response type. Do you have a good solution already? Make docs, models, no. HTTP error. Ah, okay. This way? No, can't find it. way go. And including checksum, go below. Okay, I'm getting the same error for the docs not getting generated after executing. Cannot load, blah blah blah. Success nil, your message here. For the 204 error. 204 error. No, yeah. Okay, so it seems that 1.7 has a problem there, and it seems to be open. Which version we have? 2.0. Ah, look, that is a different HTTP util. That's the reason. They import again funky stuff here from seller, whatever. That's why that HTTP utils is something else. It's HTTP error. So that being said, we have this. So let's do it this way. Then we have to import it. Let's hope that this works. Import for side effects. So are you happy now? Still, well, it finds it at least. That's something. Good. And what is the other models part? I did not get that completely. So it's model, probably for the account to just showcase the stuff. Okay, so back to swag init. Parse error, group go, cannot find type definition. Go home. Is that used in code by him? Yeah, it is. Okay, so that's probably something we would have to do. At the moment we don't do it, so there would be something like HTTP util, HTTP error, fill all the files, code, don't know, 500. That did not work as expected. Something like this. Introduce local variable, nope, nope, nope. And now we have the util here. What's the issue? Evaluate but not used. Okay, makes sense. So that would be probably, how do we respond with that? New error. New, wait a second. So HTTP util dot new error with the context and the status 500 and the error something did not work out as expected. And the error should be an error, not a string. So error. How do I do that? New error. I'll just pass in the error itself. Fair enough. Get rid of this and return it anyway. I could even panic actually, but hey. Good. So, and now because this is imported here, so we should find that here simply also. The import is there, and that being said, we will find, we have that, and now swag init. Cannot find type declaration, HTTP error. I solved it with the command below. Swag init parse dependency parse internal. I tried this echo and it's working fine. Okay, let's try it. Hey! What is going on? Warning, failed evaluate UTF-8, failed to evaluate const. Object integer, object admin string, ID type string, and can I also define the format? I think that would be quite important. So probably I have to define the models then more with that swag stuff. So here, models or something, model, composition and response, JSON result, code message data order also support. Sorry, as I said, not slept very well tonight. So we have a success, failure, header, whatever. So here we have format, certification pair, swagger type, and then we have to pass in that inside of the string. Okay, understood. That being said, would be format, UUID. Probably the same thing for this one. Do we need the swagger type? No, I don't think so, right? Probably. Let's edit swagger type. String. This is like that. Swagger type, colon, string, and no space between. Okay. And the same thing here. Sounds good. And recreate these. Failed to evaluate still a lot of things. Parse int locb mprof value. Okay, let me see if parse internal is necessary. Let's just use the parse dependencies. Yeah, I think that worked better. Okay, so and in our Swagger JSON we have now the UUID. Fantastic. But still, if I create now, I can't make it required now, right? So that means I would have to. So for example, to say sometimes it's required and sometimes not, that is difficult, right? Support custom type, my struct, JSON ID. Ignored, int swagger ignored, add extension into. Name response, okay, general API info. Okay, so Swaggo is another horse onto everything. It's like very complex actually. Can do quite some stuff for us. So this HTTP error, where's the difference to that to if I say new league, we have that error here. We created that ourselves, so that is the problem or the difference. Okay. But anyway, before I start now too much with this Swaggo, which doesn't necessarily help me with what I want to achieve, actually. So at the moment, I still feel like I turn around the horse, more or less. So I would like to get rid of all these things, and I would like to create them from the Swagger file. So that's why I would like to remove Swaggo for now. Go mod, I think we have Swaggo here. Files in Swaggo, get rid of it. Don't need that. And I think with that we can say go mod tidy. Found Swaggo, because it was still imported somewhere. Alright, so get rid of that. Don't need that. Don't want that yet. But I see the benefit that you get directly the website and things like that, so that's quite cool. And you have everything in code, which is also not too bad. So when you really work from that side, that makes a lot of sense. So, especially if you have already a lot of API calls that you just want to transform into Swagger and Open API standards, that makes lots of sense, as I said. So get rid of this. I think... Yeah, I think we can even, no, that remove it, I think. Don't need that for now. Exactly, we'll go more tidy, try to remove some stuff. Did it work? Yeah, okay. Good. Actually, do we have anything changed now if I remove that? No, I think we didn't, so we can remove that. That was quite interesting to see how that Swagger works, but from my side I would like to generate now the code from this part here and like to see how that works. So what we will do is getting rid of that and using this OAPI standard. We have installed it, I think. Let's do it once more just in case, yeah. And now what we will do is executing this here, and we will create a package. I think we can create a package called controller just for testing purposes, and we would like to take pet.store.gen.go. We don't have that yet. So Warcraft free game tracker.yaml into this. So did something happened? Doesn't look like that. Oh, there is. So now we created all that stuff. New client. Okay. What did we create actually? In order to create a Go server to serve this exact schema, you would have to write a lot of boilerplate code to perform all the marshalling, unmarshalling into objects, which match the OpenAPI free definition. With the code generator in this directory does a lot for you. You would run it like so. File to show you everything which has been generated. Okay, /component schema. Section in the API defines reusable objects. So Go types are generated for these. The pet store example defines error, pets, pets, and new pets. So we do the same for Go. Okay, so now it really creates us the structures for that. That means here inside we find our group and new group probably. Yeah, so we have group, open API types, UUID, ID, omit empty. Probably go more tidy. Have to get some dependencies again. Fair enough. And then we have new group, which we have also with the UUID. How about the league? New league, and we have our time. Oh nice, so this is even automatically parsed correctly then. Interesting. New client creates a new client with reasonable defaults with HTTP client, client interface, find group, add group. There's all that stuff inside. Find groups, and then we have the implementation. C apply editors with context. C client do request. On top of the client. Okay, can I get also the server somewhere? URL pass, operations, groups, query. Okay, that's a hardcore large file, that's interesting. Package pet store, okay, it created that as a package. Under component field in the schema, since those are turned into Go types. If you use inline types and the handler definition, we would generate anonymous Go types, but those are more tedious to deal with. Okay. Server interface are all the calls that we can do now. Find pets, HTTP requests, So code generation using generate gin. Okay, so let's remove that for now. Do the same thing as we did before, and then we say generate gin. Only one API spec file is accepted, and it must be the last CLI argument. Okay, makes sense. Package controller generate gin. So, and maybe rename that to something like receive free server gen go. Correct. So we remove that, and here we find, oh, at the bottom we find all the operations that we can do now. Get, find, server interface, wrapper, register handler. Okay. Can I also define that we only want to get the server at the end? The usage of gin is out of scope of this doc, but once you have the gin instance, we generate a gin instance, we generate a utility function to help you associate your handlers with this auto-generated code. For the pet store, it looks like this: register handlers with options. Register handlers with options. Okay, and there I pass in this. Get post, there are all the URLs inside, is that correct? Yes, so this is what we saw at the bottom, okay. Return the router. So do we pass in the router and it will take them and create all that, okay. Import Gonic gin, pet store, so we set up a handler, pet store impl. Struct func impl get pets implement me. Oh, okay. Generate RPC inspired strict server that will parse request bodies and encode responses to the main. Okay. Now we have created this. Pet store expanded, OAPI generation, pet store expanded, gin API, middleware, GitHub OAPI, PKB, gin. So, and a middleware OAPI request validator Swagger. Okay. So we have a request validator who checks if the input types we put inside of the API is also valid, all of these things. And then we register the handlers R to our router. And pet store, where comes pet store from? So where is this coming from? From here then? Probably. Fascinating. Okay. I think it is simple in Kotlin, KOTOR, and Spring Boot. Yeah, I think it is simple to create it with the other port, and it makes also a lot of sense. Don't get me wrong, to use that API generation tool on the other side. But because we don't have our API so much defined yet, I was more thinking about creating the YAML file and abstract from that the source code so that we don't have to write so much code. And maybe for the future we will do that more. And Swaggo seems, as I said, more the opposite way around. I really create all the functions already, and it really creates me only the definitions. And at least this is what I understood now. If you see that different, please let me know. That would be fantastic. And in the meantime, I try to implement this now. So in our server, let's say we have this, and I think it will complain now because it doesn't reside in the right package at the moment. Okay, let's move that to a own package called controller. And inside of here, we just keep it for now. And so. And the idea would be that in my main Go, where I have this set up, let's see, here we go, inside of our data types, code gen, here we go. So that means we would have to set up a pet store impl. where we register at the moment. Let's see. So router run, here we get our setup server, and I think here we define it at the moment. It would be somewhere here. We define our Warcraft free server struct, don't sure here. Pet store impl, that was the Warcraft free server struct. And this function of setup handler, I think we can take out. It would be here then. My API get pets. Implement me struct. Is that the impl? Pet store implementation. Okay, that is the implementation of all the API endpoints, I guess. Not sure if I completely understood now. Maybe I'm also completely on the wrong side. Maybe we still have to implement everything ourselves. So that would be this. Let's call that also impl, just to match the naming for now, so that I don't misuse that. So my API, we have the middleware which we can import. Oi oi oi, gin middleware. And then we pass in O, and here comes Swagger. Where comes Swagger from? Gin middleware, we have that. We don't know. Oh, Swagger, open API, Swagger. CodeGen to Yuri, no. Unresolved reference, create variable, Swagger. Do we have the imports? What is the problem? API redeclared as imported package name. Okay. That's not good. And I think here we only need one. So Swagger is still not there. Okay, that's a little bit of unluck right now. So this is the open. We don't have that. What we can do is getting it from the controller probably, because this is pet store stuff. We don't have that. But what we have is Warcraft free game tracker controller. And Jin, I think we have already. And now the import for side effects. This starts again. Is inside of here Swagger defined? No. Setup handler. Code is generated with the configuration generate strict server true along with okay, this is strict server. Server interface. That means we have here somewhere the inside of here the server interface represents all server handlers. Okay, find, get, blah blah blah, and this is an interface, so we have to override that somehow. Server interface wrapper, middleware func, error handler. Which was generated. We get the server boilerplate. See go types. Okay. Do you have any ideas? Hey, how Koreshi? I know this is completely random. I think all what we are doing here is random. But can I get your thoughts on browser extensions I'm writing for Kick? What exactly do you need, Koreshi? I'm a little bit unsure. Do you need my browser extensions? Are you at Noisemia, Glockify, and Influencer Analytics at the moment? Or do you need more an interference, what you could use for browser extensions inside of Kick for itself? In the meantime, I go back to my boilerplate. For each element in paths map in OpenAPI, we will generate Go handler functions in an interface object. Here's the for the echo server. Okay. These are the functions which you will implement yourself in order to create a server conforming to the API specification. Okay, so I have to anyway write it myself, unluckily. Okay. Conforming to the... Normally all the arguments and parameters are stored in echo context in handlers. So we do the tedious work of unmarshalling JSON automatically. That's good. Simply passing values into your handlers. Notice that find pet by ID takes a parameter ID. All path arguments will be passed as arguments to your function. Ah, yeah, okay, so that, nice, okay, understood. Since they are mandatory. Remaining arguments can be passed in the header query arguments or... Okay. Tags, string, JSON tags, limit. The query parameter limit turns into a Go field named limit. It is passed by a pointer since the option. Okay. Registering handlers. There are a few ways. Generate server or G server. Registering your HTTP handler based on the type of server generated. EA generate server. The usage of Gin is out of scope of this doc, but once you have a Gin instance, we generate a utility function to help you associate your handlers with this auto-generated code. For the pet store, it looks like this. Register handlers with options. And there I pass in this router and server interface and the options. Okay, and I get back a so-called engine. Register handlers, I think this is what we want to call. Gin default with a middleware. I just don't know where this swagger comes from. Middleware not working. Hi, I'm using Gin, but it seems the middleware does not handle. Okay. Gin middleware. Did I miss something? A tiny example? That looks correct to me. Could you construct a tiny runaway example? Okay. Blah blah blah. Some stuff. To do request validations, we simply wrap open API free filter from to do the bug lies in there. Perhaps you could come up with a reproduction case for the project and file an issue. Fascinating. Okay. In the meantime, nope, the extension is to measure and improve engagement for chat and streamers. It currently has a meter showing rates of messages in chat in moving time windows, 15, 1 minute, 5 minutes. As a streamer, do you have any thoughts of features you'd like to see in such a tool? Oh, I'm not so long a streamer on Kick, and I have no idea actually to showing rates of messages in chat in moving time. My chat messages are usually quite slow, so I'm happy with that, but I can imagine that there is something needed. And for other tools for streaming, not so sure actually. Sorry for that. If I come up with some ideas, do you have, I don't know, a Twitter handle or anything that I can reach you? Then I can send it to you maybe after the stream. API Swagger. So it seems to be part of the middleware actually. So where comes this Swagger part from? I really don't get that. is a gin middleware function which validates incoming HTTP requests to make sure that they conform to given fails on the request with the error message. And the OpenAPI T, where comes this swagger from? I don't get it. Is that maybe inside of this here? Oops. It's inside of here actually. Examples. Pet store expanded. Go fiber. G echo gin. Pet store go. Swagger service null. Then we have this swagger. Where are you coming from? API gets swagger. That's the reason. New gin pet server. Pet store flag port. Okay, pet store, new API, new pet store. New pet store. Where comes API from? From itself. Okay. So let's see if I can call that. So if I have this swagger part, we would create our own swagger. API get swagger. Okay, so API dot get. But what is API? Where's this API coming from? API gets swagger. Server config YAML? No. Pet store go. Returns the swagger specification. So in their generated code, they get a swagger. Returns the swagger specification corresponding to the generated code in the file. That being said, in my generated, there should be also get swagger, which is not there. So is there a swagger? Is there swagger? No swagger. Why do I don't have swagger in my generated file? Sad. Get swagger and it returns a swagger. Embedded. Why do I don't have that? Do I the YAML file that they have? Do they have somewhere swagger defined? Swagger pet store, API team, swagger, 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 but that's it. Do they path servers? Response, post, requests, delete, components, schemas, pet, all off, blah, blah, blah. An error. Yes, for sure. My Twitter is nbookie. Alright. See ya. Enjoy the rest of your day. Let's add you directly that I don't forget you. No man bookie. Perfect. And good luck with your extension. Soon. Still problem. Server interface. Service interface wrapper. Open code gem. Get swagger. I'm using following generate spec open API. I'm curious if you'd be open to adding the ability to embed. What would be nice for my use case is the alongside get swagger. Generating the swagger requires a bunch of Java. What it's worth, I did experiment with embedding the inline swagger following it. Okay, that's something else. That's so odd. So, no, that's something else. Let me think. So we have that generate gin package controller, because why not? And then why did it not create? If we do that, it creates me this, and there is no get swagger inside. Swagger, no. What was the clear definition of stupidity? Do the same thing and expect a different result, right? Oh, API code gen. Maybe we have to read into it. Alias types configuration. YAML exclude schema, exclude generate string, comma rated. Fiber import mapping string, include tags, initialize overrides, old config style. Package string response. Okay, I don't understand completely, so let's Google that. No get swagger. Swagger JSON endpoint. Hey guys, do you have a record? See the get swagger information. You could declare a new path for, and the handler you call get swagger and marshal that JSON inside by the JSON serializer. It's inefficient, but maybe because I use gin. What happens if I don't use gin? Do I receive it then? Let's remove that for now. Swagger. Here we have it, right? Get swagger. Returns the swagger specifier corresponding to generic code in this file. So it's just not part of gin. Maybe it's still the better choice to use Swagger and then create all of that. I'm unsure. But maybe it's all... How do you... Gin, no, get Swagger. Maybe this is the... No, middleware not working. I'm using gin with request, but it seems the middleware does not handle invalid request data. API get Swagger. Internal API handler gin Gonic gin. Chosen there. Is there an issue maybe open? Closed, can't get so Swagger page. Into this is to show the message. I don't want that. It seems the validator is it, right? And the question is, why do I need Swagger here? What a stupid problem. It's just not generated, so what should I do at the end? If it's not there, it's not there. Package controller, so that means when I use generate gin, it just stops doing it. Server options, base URL, middleware function, gin server, handle middlewares, find leak. Is there maybe no reason for it? So server, what do we get for server actually? Server interface wrapper, abort, server options. Register handlers, wrapper, options, middleware. It's just what we receive, right? Let me quickly check if I'm stupid. So what we are doing is following. We have all that understood, and what I would like to do is going into the GitHub repository once more here and create an issue now, because I fell. This is weird, just weird. So get Swagger. I think it should exist still. Error, get it in code for Confluence, middleware errors, OAPI middleware not working. It still generates Swagger references. Ah, is it not necessary anymore? Is that the reason? Error lint noticing register gin code generation generate gin. Maybe it because I add two. I know now I'm getting desperate, but I have here two hyphens. Maybe this is the reason, but I hardly doubt it. I mean, it's generating everything I need, right? Okay, maybe I have to think a little bit different. So we have this variable myAPI, we don't use it yet. So maybe it is part of this. If I say here get pets, there is the implementation of all that. That's not what I want. These are just the implementations. And what I would like to do is getting the API dot register leak endpoint or web endpoints group API. Register group endpoints. Group and leak and web endpoints. Okay, we don't necessarily need that yet. What is that T? It's a group service, group API. Okay, that's my API that tries to get controller. Dot register handlers, middleware func, gin server option server interface register handlers with server interface wrapper, gin server options server interface wrapper. No, that's not it. So I don't know how to get this Swagger actually. So probably I have to read a little bit how to use this OAPI request validator with gin. So with gin. Go OAPI, API specs, stuff, code generation results, create something, request. Validate, validator new. What is fine? We have a validate tags on our field. Create something, so it generates the types. Validator new. I think that doesn't work. What is the Swagger actually doing? So if I going back and I create the same thing without gin, what do I receive as a result here? So inside of here we have now that get Swagger part. Resolve path row, open API, new loader is external reference, loader. Load from spec files, Swagger, whatever. In the file, the external reference of Swaggers are resolved. The logic of resolving external references is tightly connected to import mapping feature. Product path, decode, Swagger spec. It's like that whole block in the bottom is missing for Jin. What would happen if I just take it? I know, very bad practice into a generated file to add some stuff, but you know, desperate times. So, put that up here. Alright, setup go. So we get our Swagger, and I say now Swagger is equal to controller dot get Swagger. We are getting red. Assignment mismatch 1 and 2. I think we get an error. Yeah. So, and then we have this where we say controller.register handlers and pet store. Register handlers, okay, that's fine. R and pet store, well, R is the router, that's correct, and pet store should be something else. I think that's my API. As some of the server interface is missing, and that's perfect. Find groups, add groups, find groups. Implement missing methods, please. Ah, yeah, beautiful. So, great, and with that, we should have that. I think get pets is anyway not an existing one. Find groups, prepend. Whoops, nope. More actions, add as a first parameter register hand, change second parameter register handler to what is missing? We have all them now implemented, so probably this one is now depending on this. Wow, it started to rain. Sorry that I'm so surprised, but hey, hadn't long time rain here anymore, so I'm very happy with that. Register creates an HPR with routing, matching OpenEA specs. Okay, find groups has a pointer receiver. Find groups has a pointer receiver. Find groups, find league, find groups has a pointer receiver. What does that mean? Can you use my API type Warcraft as the type server interface type does not implement server interface, as the find groups method has a pointer receiver. More action, change second per register handlers from no. Add Jin engine as first result parameter to function register handler or prepend something. Server interface. And then we have to find groups, Jin context. No, here we are. Find groups. You know what? Let me delete all of them once more, just to make sure. So now it complains. My API can't do that. Implement all of them. Fantastic. Cannot use controller as a type engine. Controller register R my API used as value, but it returns nothing. Register handlers does not return anything. That's true. You too not. So this is just to register everything, and then we return R. Setup handler, not even that. We really just register them. Setup handlers will be done here. Register group API. setup handlers will be done here. So we remove all of them. That's that. And we get we have to pass in the router or Swagger API server input. No, we define here a router, so that doesn't make sense. We get here R, which is stargin.engine. And being set here will be the router. Okay. Now we have all of them. Okay. Then if I go to my ROP here, I maybe quickly restart our Docker just in case. Whoops. Fair enough. And I go now to localhost. That should work, but this should crash actually. API v1 leaks. So the question is, why did it not crash? It should go inside of this find groups because this is defined. Swagger R middleware implementation. Setup handler, setup server. There is actually nothing, or there is a problem somewhere. No. No. How can that be now successful? I think that should crash actually. Docker compose clean. What was it? CP create down. Okay. Docker compose down. Docker compose up. So what do we have? API v1 all group. Aha, now, but this is still with the interface all groups handler. How is that possible? The API prefix is not even used anymore. My main goal, this is that. Set up the server, here we run it, that's that. I can even access group, but it should fail. What is going on? Am I? No. Something is cached and it doesn't recreate because something is broken, I guess. So this is my only guess that I have at the moment. So go run dot. Ah, look at that. Missing go sum entry for module providing git pyre mux git. So go mod tidy. Go run dot. Okay, creating the engine, and then we crash anyway because templates is missing. Fantastic. So that is something that our Docker can do. That's sometimes a bit problematic if you are using Docker, that you sometimes don't see if there happens a real error that you have to fix. So I don't know why that happens. Maybe something is stuck in the cache, or because it can't build it again, then it will just take the old stuff. Probably that is even the reason, and yeah. So that looks much better. So we have all these different paths. Interesting enough, we don't have the main path, so it didn't add that. The validation called with OpenAI spec of server set. This may lead to for no matching operation was found when sending a valid request. Okay, so this is just probably because I tried to hack it inside with that get swagger part. Okay, but if I go now to the error, no matching operation was found, and here I should get like a 400. No, yeah, because we, out of some unknown reasons, we don't have this part here now. Huh? Why don't I run now in this error? In our setup, go register group API group repo. Yeah, we don't use that at the moment, but why don't we run in this panic mode here? Find groups, we have that. What would be if I remove this part? Delete that. Register handless. Late to the game, what does the tracker track? The idea of the game is, or what I want to do in the long run is to resolve like creep camp, for example. We have these games. This is a leak for Warcraft 3, and my idea is to create a mobile app where I have all the data on. But the problem is not this leak, not any other leak has an API that I can easily request. So my idea is to create now I would like to create a server where I can store all the information from this here. So somewhere that someone enters it manually, or we just make a web crawler who takes all the information for us. And then at the end, we would like to create a mobile app to showcase all the different leaks so people can directly jump into their leak and watch the interesting things happen. So, and yeah, because Warcraft 3 is quite an oldish game, you know, then you don't necessarily get all the information. Why would I need that? Well, it is, first of all, a fun project. It is something that I'm interested in. It's Warcraft 3. And the third thing is I am myself playing in that league. So yeah, have to participate here regularly. So it would be great to have there some additional part to work on. But you're really late to the game, because I would say I will stop this stream also sooner or later now. It was really a joy working today. I learned a lot about Swaggo, about all the APIs, about Swagger and OpenAPI. Sadly, we have not finished it yet, so it will be probably something for Friday when we are working again on this project. So stay tuned and we will see us on Friday, hopefully over on kick.com or on YouTube. Let's see how we are happy or how we want to live stream that. And if you liked that episode, hit the like button, subscribe to us, follow me, go to Twitter, follow me there. And yeah, on Thursday you will get probably a new video from me for patterns and records on Dart. And yeah, that's everything. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next time. Bye.